All right, let's take a tour through this Airtable app for campaign concept generation and visualization. The core idea of this app is that from a very simple description of your marketing campaign, a little bit of information about you and your brand, AI will go and generate innovative, compelling tactics for your next campaign backed by strategic context and web research, and then use image generation to actually bring those ideas to life so you can see how they look in the real world. So right now we are looking at editing the interface layer in Airtable. Anytime we want to go and experience the app itself as an end user, we just hit launch. And then to get back to where we were editing, just click the name of the app and then either edit pages, which will take you to the interface layer, or view data, which will take you into the data layer. So now that you already used the app, hopefully through the onboarding process, you've been using the app on the interface layer. Let's now go under the hood and see how the app actually works at the data and automations layer. Okay, let's start on the campaigns table here on the data layer. And we're going to see how agents can help us build out the strategic context that's going to really kind of act as the backdrop for our campaign. So we can start with as little as a 1 or 2 sentence description here in this description field. Optionally, if you've got them, you can attach entire documents like a whole campaign brief, brainstorming notes. Then AI agents are going to help summarize the context that we provide it, or generate the context if it's maybe missing and we don't actually provide too much input. It's either going to extract and summarize or help us enrich and build out the context that we do need. So in this case, we've got a campaign summary from that brief document, as well as the short headline description that comes down to just this paragraph here of what this campaign is trying to achieve. Objective field is a similar idea. Let's actually have a look inside this field agent here for campaign summary. So this is going to generate long text for us. It's got a prompt that has specific instructions to look at the description field, and optionally, if there is content in the campaign input docs field, it will look at that as well and provide a crisp strategic distillation of what this campaign is all about. From here, we then start to build out additional research on our audiences. So once we've got enough of the strategic background on the campaign, we're going to set off the next round of field agents. So we have a field agent here that's going to search the web and actually perform audience research. We have a field agent looking into market trends for our target audience. And then we have another one that is distilling all of this into a core concept. So the idea here that you're already being introduced to is that in Airtable, you can have one field agent that passes its output into the next. And in this example, we just have one campaign, but you can imagine this happening across several campaigns in this app that have all been brought to life with image generation that happens at the end of this process. The last thing worth pointing out on the campaigns table is that we have a really nice simple technique here where we've used a formula field in Airtable to just take all of the content from each of those field agents and put it into one field. So no AI happening at this particular step. It's just taking the outputs of AI and putting them all together. And we're going to use this huge block of text as context when we get to the tactic generation and image generation stages. That's going to come in really handy. Okay, now let's talk about what's happening on the tactics table. So on the interface, there's a button that generates a set of tactics for a given campaign. It's doing that using the context we've created on the campaign. So I'll quickly show you here the automation. So there is a button that when that is clicked on the interface, you are going to trigger a text response. So this time we're triggering AI from within the automation, and we're asking it for 10 unique campaign tactics that are going to be things we can visualize with image generation down the line. It's going to return that all in a single comma-separated list, and then it's just going to drop that text directly into the tactics linked record field that's on the campaigns table. So let me show you what I mean there. So over on the campaigns table, we have this special type of field here in Airtable called a linked record. So it is linking to the tactics table. This establishes that this campaign is associated with all of these tactics. So all of these here are AI generated. Over on the tactics table, we have the other side of that coin. So we can see that each of these tactics are all associated with this same campaign right here. And we've actually grouped them here. So again, if you had multiple campaigns, you can see which tactics are associated with each campaign. So what's going on this tactics table? Once we've got all the actual records in place, what's happening here. So we show how if you have maybe images of a marketing tactic from another brand or another company that you thought was interesting, you can drop those into this tactic reference attachment field. And that's going to kick off the tactic reference description field agent. It is going to actually look at the content of that image and return a distilled summary of what that image actually shows. And we're going to use that to inform how we create our own spin on that tactic. Here's the lookup of all of that campaign context that I was referring to earlier. So because the tactics and campaigns are associated, we can add this special type of field here called a lookup, which is looking at the campaigns table and grabbing that formula field for all campaign context. And it's doing that on each tactic. So again, if you look here, we just have this big block of text for all of that information that the agents pulled together on the campaign table. That's going to be really helpful context when we're actually ready to bring these tactics to life with images. Now, over on the styles table is kind of the fun part of this app. So the app comes pre-built with several interesting, unique styles, more so classic design styles. But the really cool part is that you can add in your own brand or other brands that you admire if you want to see what your tactics might look like in the style of Nike or Apple or one of the other great brands that are out there. So all it takes to kick that off is just typing in the name. So you can literally just type in, for example, Airtable. Let's say the Airtable brand style. Just from that, the agent here can do a pretty good job, style description agent right here, of actually searching the web and learning how this brand represents itself visually and returning all of that as text content. It can do an even better job if you do drop in a few visual reference images. And so again, same idea here. Those visual reference images are optionally input into this agent if they are present. And so in this case, this is just an image from the Airtable website that helps enrich how I taught this agent to learn about the Airtable brand style. So you don't have to provide an entire brand book or anything. If you do have it, there is a field here for a style guide, which will be the place to put that entire attachment. But it's really impressive how little context it takes to have AI agents be able to search the web, look at images if you have them, and get a pretty good sense of what the design style is and how to represent your brand. And then finally, this all comes together back on the tactics table with representing these tactics in realistic real-life contexts. And so we have this really important prompt here going into a field agent called art direction. So in this case, we are telling this art director that you are creating a prompt that will be passed into an image generation model. So it's like we have a prompt here that is going to write the next prompt. And you can see that idea throughout this app, though. The output of one prompt chains into the input of the next. So we are asking it to take this tactic and understand the style that we've chosen for this campaign, understand all the context that we have provided for this campaign, and then give us a crisp paragraph that puts that tactic in a real world context so we can see what it would actually look like, represented with the style of the brand associated with this campaign. And then it all comes together in the image generation, which is driven by the art director prompt. So in this case, we had the vintage travel poster style. And let's see, giant 3D billboard of a sneaker breaking through a city wall was one of the tactics that AI came up with. And there it is, taking visual inspiration from the style that we chose, but taking the strategic context of understanding who we're trying to serve. And you see some of those consumers represented there in a real world context. Here's another one of a pop-up shop where you can customize your sneakers. Again, taking that visual style as well as the strategic campaign context and bringing it all together into an image that actually allows us to go beyond just a text description of an idea and see, hey, what would this actually look like in the real world with our target market, our target consumers actually engaging with it? Is this actually something compelling? Is this worth exploring further? And you can just generate so many ideas and really bring them to life so quickly with AI in this process. It's really fun to experiment with different campaigns, different styles, regenerate different tactics, and see what you can come up with. So just to complete the picture on how the final piece, the image generation, works, Popping into the automation layer here, there's a button on the campaign that you click to generate visuals. That makes a very simple change to the content of the data layer. It literally just sets this field on the campaign right over here called Start Image Gen to the value of start. That then gets looked up on the tactics table, and as soon as that changes, it triggers the art director prompt. Once the art director prompt is ready to go, that's what actually triggers our image generation. And so we want to make sure that that art director prompt is complete and is populated so that we can pass that into image generation. And that's literally all we're doing for image generation, is taking that exact art direction prompt and just putting it right here into the prompt for image generation. We don't need to do anything else to it, because we were very explicit with telling the art director prompt, hey, your job is to give us the image generation prompt. And so we have in this app a series of prompts that write prompts that inform and enrich other prompts. And it is just such a great example of what's possible running AI at scale and in parallel and in sequence in Airtable. And now we really want you to make the app your own. And the best way to do that is to ask Omni. So you can pop open Omni on the left side here and ask anything from add new styles to the styles table, go and search the web and come up with 10 more classic design styles. And Omni can add data to your app. You can ask Omni to build more interfaces or tables or automations for your app. Omni is there as a collaborative partner to build out this app for you, help you understand and add to the data within that app, and ultimately make it your own. So enjoy creating different visual campaign explorations with this app.